Hello, my garden friends. This is Jersey Shore Lisa from MyNJGarden.com. Happy 4th of July. Please subscribe to the channel and stay with me for all my garden updates. This is the 4th of July and you can see behind me the garden is really lush and we've had a lot of rain the past few days, so I wanted to show you what the developments have been in the garden. Let's take a look. Over here, you can see this container has some eggplants in it. These eggplants started as very small starts that I started in the greenhouse, but they're doing great. They're really coming into their own. No blooms on them yet, but they really look fantastic. I'm really happy with them. These are called Bella Rosa eggplants, and they're a variety that's kind of more small and round than the standard Black Beauty eggplants you get in the grocery store. They're also white and they are striped with purple. They kind of have purple coming out of the very top of them. Over here you can see the hibiscus is humongous, and I actually trimmed quite a bit of this back this year because I didn't want to completely swallow up the rhubarb that's underneath it. I want the rhubarb to be able to photosynthesize and get some strength. So I didn't hesitate and I pruned back quite a lot of these right from the ground, just pulled out the stalks that I didn't want, and it doesn't even matter because it's such a monster, it just comes right back. But these are going to bloom any second. You can see those buds, and I have some blooming on the other side of the yard. Let's go take a look at what they're gonna look like. Over here in the Meadow Strip, you can see the daylily are still going strong. The yarrow there, the white flowers are yarrow, and there are some small miniature red roses, and this is the blazing star liatris. It's in full bloom, and boy, it is just outstanding. They look like fireworks on the tops of these flowers, and the bees just love them. Take a look at that guy, he's very busy. There's still some butterfly weed blooming and salvia, and over here you can see the hibiscus that I have on the other side of the yard. I put it in the Meadow Strip as well. They self-seed very easily. So this is the native variety of hibiscus. So it's always this pink flower, at least in my yard. And I've started quite a few of these from seed. And the flowers are humongous. The bees really love them. Often I'll come out and find bees sleeping in the closed flowers in the evening because they open up during the day and then they close again at night. And you can see this, the anise hyssop, that also has bees all over it. And they are happy to have that blooming here too. Further into the food forest, we have columbine. That bloomed in early spring, but since it's been so rainy and wet, I imagine that that's what stimulated it to rebloom again. So I'm really happy to see that this is spending so much of the season in flower. Columbine is beautiful. In the same bed, we also have this jujube. And this was the tree that fruited last year. I got one fruit off of this jujube tree last year. It does have a pollinator right behind it. You can see in the other bed. But this one, that one doesn't have fruit forming on it yet, but this one does. So you can see the small fruits. You can also see that it's still flowering. So you can see those small flowers, but small fruits are forming as well. Quite a few of them. So I think I'm gonna get plenty of jujube this year. I am so happy about it. Further into the food forest, you can see that the elderberry is in bloom. And these elder flowers are edible flowers. People make fritters out of them. They use them to make beverages. They're so fragrant. They have a wonderful scent, and that scent is lent to whatever you cook them into. I leave the flowers on the tree. Every morning when I come out, since it's been blooming, I come out and I find flowers all over the ground. Now it's just rained again this afternoon, and I'm not sure if you can see the tiny little flowers that have shed all over the ground, but I find them in the bird bath, and they kind of rain down like snow throughout the time that the tree is blooming. After the flowers are done, we'll end up getting delicious elderberries all over this bush. And you can really see that this shrub is gigantic and weighted down by these flowers. How magnificent is that? That has to be 15 plus feet across at this point. Now it is weighted down because it did just rain this afternoon, and as I said, the flowers are blooming. But when those flowers are replaced with heavy bunches of berries, it will be at least that shape, maybe even more pronounced in the droop of those outside branches. But it's totally worth it, because not only are those berries delicious when they're cooked or made into syrup, but they're also extremely beneficial medicinally. They are wonderful as an immune booster, and they'll keep you well throughout cold and flu season. So definitely worth it, and easy to grow in this zone, which is 7A in central New Jersey. Underneath the elderberry, we have the coneflower is blooming. This is echinacea, which is also medicinal, also great for your immune system. And we have a small tomato that's hanging out under here. Now this is the south side of this bush, so though it is under the elderberry, it gets plenty of sun, but this is some unique soil here because it's very sandy, but it also has a thick layer of wood chips and mulch over the top of it. So though there are some pretty great looking tomatoes down there, the plant is still pretty small. So today I put a fresh layer of compost underneath it to help give it a little boost of nutrition. And under my blueberry net, you can see that I've erected the blueberry net again this year. This I made last year out of some garden netting, and I draped it over a naked patio umbrella and put it around my blueberries, and it does the most wonderful job of protecting my blueberry harvest from the birds. So there are plenty of blueberries that are ripe in here. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see through the net in the video, but I have already come out to pick multiple times, and I can see that I need to come out again with my bucket and pick a bunch of blueberries. We've been cooking with them in the kitchen and eating them with our ice cream, and they've just been a wonderful blessing to have coming fresh out of the yard. This is my Jerusalem artichoke sunchoke patch that last fall I wanted to protect it from the voles that tend to come through and eat them. So what I did was I planted garlic through the patch, and unfortunately the week before, I really needed to pick that garlic. It's soft-necked garlic, and it really started to fall over, and it's not like the hard-neck garlic, though hard-neck garlic, we would pick them right around this week, right around July 4th is when they're ready to harvest. Now, it's become evident that though these sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes, they came up this year, and so far they hadn't been attacked by voles, but since I've picked that garlic, we can see that right there, there's one stalk that's fallen down, and another one has been killed over here. I think that the voles are making their way back into this area. So I don't know if the garlic did the trick, if they hated it planted amongst these sunchokes, but it seems like it may have. So what I need to do is, even though typically I wouldn't plant garlic in this area until the fall, I need to sacrifice a few cloves and try and plant them now and try and get them to get going. This is going to be strange. I'm not really sure how this garlic is going to go, if it's going to grow and then I'll harvest it before the frost, or if I should just plant it now and leave it to harvest next spring. But I am going to plant more this week, hopefully save these sunchokes so that they'll bloom in the fall and they all won't get taken down by pests this summer. The pawpaw is growing up great. This is one of 3 of the pawpaws. This one did not hold, though all 3 of them flowered this year. There's the second one, and the third one is over by the blueberries. Though all 3 flowered this year, only one of them, the one by the blueberries, held on to its fruit that it formed, and that is very exciting to me. I cannot wait to try it. Let's see if I can get the camera in here so you can see the fruit on the tree. There's one right there. Woo! How exciting. Everyone needs to just take a look at this wonderful keyhole garden. There's so much growing in there, and it looks a little chaotic because there are some weeds, but check it out. That is a sunflower, and I have never grown sunflowers before, and it hasn't bloomed yet, but it's going to, and it's going to be marvelous. I can't wait to see the flower. There's also a lot of striped Maypop squash, and this coloring of the white parts on the squash leaves may look like there's something wrong with it, but there's nothing wrong with it. That is a typical kind of a coloring that can happen on squash leaves, including zucchini or crookneck squash. Some varieties just have that coloring. It doesn't mean that there's mildew or anything wrong with it. It's a perfectly healthy plant. And then there's lettuce and some peppers flowering here. And here's an eggplant with a beautiful purple flower on there. Just look at that marigold. How happy is that? It is humongous. It's fantastic. I love the Keyhole Garden. It really is some of the best soil in the yard, in perfect sun exposure. It's the best garden bed in the yard. And then over here we have the raised bed with some corn, lots of flowering carrots, and some beans, and another Maypop squash is in this bed as well. And you can see that one has actually formed, and there it is. Now, I've never grown Maypop squash before, so I actually have no idea how to eat it. Have you grown Maypop squash? Please give me some of your ideas for how to prepare it. Do you eat it like a summer squash, like zucchini? I was under the impression that you did, but it looks more like a gourd to me, or a pumpkin. So I'm not really sure typically how they're used, but it does seem to be pretty productive, and it is a happily vining squash in this bed. Over here, we can see the Maypop are blooming. They're blooming like crazy, and the pollinators really love them. I'm hoping that we get some fruit off of these, but I've never seen the fruit form on these plants either. If I look underneath, I don't even see an area where the fruit will come. So I'm kind of excited to see how this works out. But I do love these flowers. Aren't they fantastic? Thank you so much for joining me with the video today, everyone. And I hope you're having a great garden season. Happy Independence Day. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll join you again soon. Bye-bye.